You
See
know, yeah, we see it, and I'm starting just like that, yo. It's starting, yo. Oh man,
yes.
it's Community Coalition Show. Y'all know what time it is. It's K
What
Wilson,
up?
Baby 2K,
What's good, gang
and
gang?
we getting right into it, y'all. If you watching this, you already see we got a third person on the screen
Yes,
now.
sir.
So I gotta do this right. I hate intros, right?
Yep.
But my man blessed me on his podcast, right? And it
Mm.
had me feeling real warm and fuzzy, right?
Okay.
So I don't know. I hate intros, but I gotta say this brother right here, in a short amount of time that we've been brothers, like, I feel like we've known each other for a long time. Really an inspiration, I love how when
Absolutely.
I get to see other brothers move, right? And I see this brother moving, I'm like, I like that guy right there.
He's moving the right way.
He's moving. But also it's just a good example, like I think it's been an excellent example for, just me seeing this too, like
Right.
um
He's a
and so
great father figure, which
everything, like,
and in that we will get. I mean, we'll get into that when we get into that. But like, yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna do this old school style. Coming to the stage. Now we got a really smart, talented, good brother here, Ryan Dunston, man. Um,
Yes.
Hometown Lenders, the Ryan Dunston Podcast,
Mm-hmm.
father extraordinaire, husband
Mm-hmm.
extraordinaire, but most importantly, man of God, great man. Um, One of those people you just gotta be around. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Or
And
that you
so
need around.
you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I know I'm hyping you up, I'm gassing you up because I've been wanting to do this for a while. But Ryan, thanks for coming on, brother.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure. Come on, I know we're gonna have some good conversation. But I mean, did I miss anything on the intro? Did I leave anything
Nah,
out?
man. Nah, to be honest with you, I think I'm too high. I got to come back down a little bit, man. But no, I appreciate the intro. I appreciate the invite as well. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So kind of get this thing going. I was a guest on Ryan podcast, Ryan Dunston Podcast. Like I said, we're gonna link that, share that because that was some really good stuff. But we started having these conversations around just the perspective of Black men,
Yeah.
and the conversations went a couple different places. We ended up doing multiple shows because it was just so good. We even had women asking questions and sharing it. We were chiming in on that, some other topics. And so
Yeah.
I was like, yo, we got to keep this conversation going.
Yeah.
So how can we, we got platforms and things like that, but
Right.
hopefully we encourage this men to keep these conversations going.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do, and that's the important part that we need to keep going.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because like we do it in pockets here and there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if we do it enough. And so after being on your podcast, Ryan, I went back and I did some thinking. And for me, it was also not just about the conversations, but also about just the importance of having support group, of brothers that we can go to and pull from. And just nothing else. We've kicked it. We done had a good time. We've done different things.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that keeps coming back to me was the togetherness, the fellowship, the bonding, like
The community.
yeah. And I don't know about y'all. I don't get that all the time.
Yeah.
It's true.
I'm be honest. I got homies, I got bros and stuff like that, but I feel like I got different pockets of brothers, for different things, and that's like friendships and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's
and
like,
you know what that goes back to? Remember how we were saying that like we were friends with everybody back in school? Like you had the jocks, you had the weird kids, you had the goth kids. Like I think it's that type of thing with you and me, honestly. Like,
yeah. So, but go ahead, Ron. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, I get the same thing, right? Because I'm a firm believer that everybody can't go where we're going. So because of that, those safe havens, we actually get used to leaving because we're trying to evolve. So every circle we exit out of, we find ourselves, and this is the benefit to teach, men how to feel again. because we have to be able to be willing to be, but vulnerable in order to step out into faith, the unknown, away from your safe haven, in order to experience new and higher, goals. And the thing is, I mean, I myself, I don't always have that safe haven either. You know what I mean? So when you stumble across good brothers on your path, I would not have gotten to a Minister Stature or a Kenneth Wilson if I didn't leave some of the circles I was in. You know what I mean? So, I understand exactly what you mean, but then I also still think it's important for, for guys to have a safe space to be broken. I mean, because all of us none of us have it together, right? And we're all trying to figure out how to be. And if you don't have somebody you can throw something up against the wall and, hey, bro, from a different perspective, what you see, tell me what you're looking at. Tell me if I'm looking at something wrong. What's in my blind spots, those sorts of things. It is beneficial to have someone, or if not a handful of folk in your corner. They don't all got to be in the same circle. You know what I'm saying? See, for me, I have, maybe one person here I might be able to go talk to, but then there's another person there I might be able to go talk to. You know what I mean? But you still, you stumble across relationships that end up, being of value just because of your willingness to be vulnerable, your willingness to be uncomfortable. These relationships don't get established if you're not able to get out of there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
One thing I'm gonna ask both of y'all, like, I know we are now. Did you find that was difficult to do, like, in your younger years, this journey? Like, was it hard to, when you even when you found someone, like, to open up, be vulnerable, like, to get to that point when you're in a relationship where you could even get to that point of sharing and communicating? Was that hard?
Yeah.
Because I know it was kind of hard for me.
Yeah, it was.
Well, for sure. I was to be honest with you, I was overly vulnerable. I mean, I was overly.
Same.
I would share. Way too easy. That was my issue. I had the kind of heart that, because I could see what I saw, I made the mistake in thinking that most saw what I saw. So I would find myself in spots mistakenly thinking that they were safe when they were not.
Right. And then before you know it, not only do they know your secret or whatever is going on with you, now everybody knows. And it's not that information wasn't for everybody. That was me trying to be vulnerable and trying to find, like, just someone to talk to through you.
Yeah,
that gets messed up a lot. Like, I know I've gone through that.
Yeah, listen, me too. And I think the only way that I would get over situations like that would just be telling myself rejection is direction. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Rejection is direction. I'm not evidently that wasn't my circle. It's not my responsibility to worry about the thoughts of others, meaning the people that they may have told or what the rumor may be, right? It's not my responsibility to worry about the thoughts of others. Right. But then more importantly, I can't change me. I can only change my interpretation of where I thought I was. So I take that lesson and I move forward. But man, I don't want to be apologetic for being me. I just want to make sure that I am trying my best to judge my circumstances a lot better. Because you didn't make a mistake. I mean, if anything, you planted seeds in another human being that'll manifest at a later date.
Right. And then also, I think it goes back to how you were saying that sometimes you got to leave. Like how maybe you're elevating, like everyone isn't in the same space or at the same point in life. Nobody is like the three of us. We're all at three different points in our lives.
Yeah, that's hard to do. That's one thing that's hard for me too, because it's, especially if you see somebody that have a good heart. Sometimes it's like it may just be the circumstance where it's like, I got to get out of here, or I know this isn't for me. Not to say that sometimes it's bad. It just may not be a situation for me, and that's tough because I can see sometimes, like, I feel like I see the other side and it's like, like, or sometimes you feel like you did something wrong because you gotta go. That was like the story of my childhood. Because it's like, brother, like y'all my boys, y'all my man, like, but I gotta keep it moving because I know either it's not right now or this don't look like it's going in a good direction.
Right.
And so going back to finding, especially I call it my grown man phase at this point. Like I'm the grown man, the grays is setting in, and really wanting to connect with good brothers, And I've always found that sometimes it don't work out, and it's been frustrating for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And I think that for folks like you and I, man, for folks like us, I just think that number one, you can't lead who you were always meant to lead, right? So when you're rejected, but your rejection is direction. So when you're directed to another place or to evolve or to keep going, right, past a certain circle, it doesn't mean that you didn't serve a purpose, because the guy that I was vulnerable with, by the time he sees how far I've climbed, he's gonna see that guy made it because of how vulnerable he was.
Yeah.
He was talking about and were in touch with himself and truths from a truthful standpoint, from a vulnerable standpoint, to the point where he could be honest enough for each moment, right? And that will become a seed that will manifest and will grow in due time for that particular king and that in his particular process. Just like you said, I mean, we're all in different stages of our lives. So of course the rejection hurts up front.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, it does. The rejection absolutely stings because your expectation of those human beings are not met. Right. But that's when you chuck it up to, okay, all right, that's just not my circle. Or okay, I'm meant to lead, right? Not in this, this is not a space where I'm supposed to be, right? I'm supposed to lead here, right? Or but in all of it, not only were you that seed for those individuals, but you're still learning how to grow and lead as well.
Right.
You're assessing. You're becoming more mature. Every experience is teaching you, how to maneuver, how to feel, right? Like, dang, that was messed up what they did, right? But that's still you processing your way through those lessons that you learned about a particular circle you just walked out of. Like it's iron sharpening iron. It's all purposeful, and I think that as long as we can compartmentalize and take control of our thoughts, then if we're processing it correctly, it makes folks like us, you and I, it frees us up to move on, because you can't move on if you're still holding a grudge.
Right. Yeah. And in that same vein, like, you can't expect something that someone doesn't do. Like, or you can't expect too much from someone, or you can't expect the wrong thing from someone.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just
and hurt people, right? So how you gonna get mad at somebody for being sick?
Yeah.
Can't get mad at them for being hurt.
And sometimes we don't see it that way initially.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw another thing out there, right? That's what I was thinking about too. We're talking about men. We talking about men sharing. We talking about men coming together in fellowship.
Right.
I've always found it easier to do this with women. And
which is a problem, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It is.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I get clowned by my friends for like talking like this.
Well, exactly. So I remember, especially as a kid, like because again, this is something traditionally men, especially black men of color, don't do, right?
Right.
And I remember being a kid, almost being programmed the opposite of this. I remember the stuff my dad and the old heads in the neighborhood and stuff would say. I'm not going to repeat them right now, but we know, right?
Right.
But I remember the stuff he would say, like they would call, you would get certain names being called, thrown out there, they would call you this stuff. So, or if, you couldn't cry.
Yeah.
Don't be soft, like these were concepts that we were programmed. And so, and something I saw a while ago was like, I saw this meme, and it was like a man and a woman. It was like the woman's trying to connect with the man, but he has this wall up.
Right.
So she's trying, the wall is up, and so she's trying. Eventually, by the end of the meme, like she kind of gets tired.
Right.
She's been fighting the wall. She's trying to like punch through the wall, and the wall is still there. So he gets tired. She's gone.
Right. Yeah.
And then by the time the dude gets to that point, his side of the wall is like almost broken through. But it's almost like when he gets through, it's too late. She's gone.
Right.
And it's like, that's one thing that's hard. And that's one thing I see a lot. Was like, we weren't taught how to do this.
Right.
It was even in the songs.
Yeah.
We know it was in rap. We know it was in hip hop, right? Because hip hop had all our anger and emotions and trauma inside of it, right? The words, a lot of them guys didn't even know that they were in pain, and the way that they expressed their pain was through writing. They were writers. All of them were writers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they got their pain out on paper. And not only that, their imagination blossomed, but it was nurtured by their pain, right? So their imagination started to reflect what their reality showed them. So that's the next thing you know, we got Rick Ross rapping about this, and then we got Cameron rapping about that, right? But that's our greatness being manifested through trauma.
Yeah.
But I will say that it was also in the R&B, right?
Yeah, I was about to say.
We talk about it all the time.
We see it more
child, right?
Right.
I was taught the true definition of a man was to never cry. Got to provide, protect them by all means. But it was in the words we spoke, and the curses that we gave out to ourselves unknowingly, right? It was all over the place. Backwards culture.
Yeah.
We have to unlearn all of it. We do, because like you said, it is horrible that we don't feel comfortable as men coming to talk to one another with the things that men deal with, right?
Yeah.
It is absolutely backwards that I can't come talk to another man about how to get through a certain emotion. We are men. Who should I be going to? I should not be going to a woman to talk to them about an emotion that they will get through like a man. It's just not happening that way.
It's not. And there's no, and I know women hear this, and there's no disrespect to any woman, but it's just, and it's vice versa too. But like I said, this, and I'm a true believer, especially when it comes to black men. There are some things that I know men in general deal with, but there's some things that a black man has to deal with in this world.
Right.
That very few people have to, And so on this level, I used to say I'm on an island. That's how I used to feel. It always felt like I was on an island. I'm by myself out here. I felt like a cornerback, like Darrell Reeves out here. Like, it's just me out here. And there was nobody, there was no help. I go back to football references. There was no help D. I had no safety over top. It was me, And that's the loneliest, hardest place to be, especially when you going through something.
Right.
And I can't.
Yeah.
Like these people are supposed to be here blocked for you, but
I got nothing, yo. They throwing it deep, and I'm on the island, and I got cover.
Right.
But like it's a 50-50 at this point. I don't know. And so that, to me, those are hard. Those are the hard times.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, so this is like what we're talking about now is how me and my wife got so tight, right? Because there were dudes that there were dudes I thought I could lean on, right?
Yeah.
There were dudes I thought I absolutely could lean on, in tight spots. And it's like, that's, in those moments, those are the moments where I've learned, like, okay, like one of the tightest relationships I got right now is my wife.
Exactly.
Right. The tightest relationship I got right now is my wife, because I couldn't lean on, the other relationships that I had, right? Not to say, and this is the thing, when you're in the process of becoming whatever your calling is, sometimes it just does not connect with some of the circles you grew up in trauma with.
Yes.
So it's like when you are elevating, you go through a period, and sometimes that period can be substantial to the point where you forget how to even be a friend.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long, right? But sometimes your calling calls you away from the circles you were in, which were the blind leading the blind. Let's be honest, right? Because they're hurt like you, which means they're seeing the same things as you see, and we need versatility. We need to be versatile in our circles so that some people can see what we just cannot see.
Right.
So you being hurt like me and me being hurt like you helps to a certain extent, right? There's empathy there, there's understanding there. You know how I feel, right? But where's the leadership? Right. I need someone who has not struggled in that way so that they can show me some things that I can't see. You know, those, and that's the reason why you as you go through, as you get pulled away, you get entered into this isolation. Because you have to learn yourself first before you can establish any kind of relationship. So learning yourself means you got to be alone with yourself so that you could see what's really going on with you. You're learning who you are, learning which ways you're broke. Then you're learning what attributes you have, what gifts you have to offer this world, what your calling is. Like there's purpose connected to that isolation, but don't get too, don't what they say, don't believe the hype. Don't get too caught up on the circles you were called away from. It doesn't mean those relationships are over. It just means that your expectation of that relationship was a bit tainted because of the way you were hurt, right? When you're in mud, everything is brown. So the moment you begin to get up, the moment you begin to stand up, you can start to connect the dots as to what that relationship meant and what it will mean going forward in your life, right? That's the reason why I don't get mad anymore, or I don't hold any grudges to those older relationships. I just understand my part in their lives now.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that
absolutely.
changes the dynamic a bit, because it changes, not only does it change my expectations, now I know how to be because I know who I am now, and the isolation taught me that. So I don't have to compromise in the relationship anymore. I can say now what I bring to the table, right? And I can also identify what that individual might be bringing to the table and act accordingly.
Absolutely.
And that's priceless. That's wisdom. That's strength. That's leadership.
You know, some things, you don't get a chance to look at them like that. I agree. I like what you said too. Your wife, you know, and I know how much credit you give to your wife, and I try to do as much as I can as well too.
I'm trying to get like y'all.
Man, I mean, it's a journey. You know, it's still a journey.
It's definitely a journey.
Yo, hold up, Ryan. How long have you been married?
It's most certainly a journey. I've only been married for 4 years, but me and my wife been together for 15 years.
Okay, Kenny, how long have you been with your wife?
This week will be 11.
11 years.
Congratulations.
Be 11. But like you, we know we were back and forth even before then, so we go back like teenage years for real.
Right, that's true. You guys went to high school together, right?
Middle school, really.
Dang. Wow.
But I mean, we wasn't together back then, but we knew each other, you know.
Right.
And I think there's a lot into that. I think there's a lot into that time, that year you putting together. You know, I still use the word courtship because that's how I kind of looked at it. Like to me, it's beyond dating. It's like purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like you knew where you were going. You had the roadmap, but you had to go through to get there. You know.
Yeah.
We wasn't ready. We wasn't ready at 21. You know. But yeah.
And I feel like once you're getting to that point, labels don't become important. I mean, labels aren't super important.
Labels change, man.
Yes. Because seasons change. One season you up and you know how to be you know how to be the guy in your relationship while you up, but do you know how to be that guy when you're down? Can you lead from a different level? Can you learn something? You learn some things. So the seasons are not gonna stay the same. They're not gonna stay the same. I mean, I'm learning now how to adjust the roles in my son's lives as they mature, right? You know, Jalil, when he was 2, he don't need me the way he need me now that he's 16. You know, just understanding and evolving that there, right? Learning that transition. But then my son, Ryan, who just turned 13, is transitioning from a boy to a young man. Right. So, but I have to be versatile enough to be able to get with Jalil, get with Ryan, but then also get with my youngest, who's just turned 9 in June. I mean, I'm still learning, bro.
Yeah.
And as seasons change, I never have it figured out. I'm always
learning.
I'm always trying to get the code, right?
Mhm.
Try to figure
Yeah.
out that cheat
Yeah.
code to life.
Mhm.
Because things constantly shift on you. The moment you think you got to figure out, boom, something flip.
Thank
Right.
you.
And you know what they say, there's no cheat codes to life.
Nah,
I'm
we can
still
still
looking though.
yeah. I want to say, look, I gotta try.
I'm definitely looking.
Yeah, and I've come to appreciate that journey, that the constant change and evolution. That's one thing I've learned to enjoy now. Like to know things are happening, but also where is this taking me? It's the strategist in me. I'm always looking at, this is different now. Okay, cool. Like you said, I got daughters, so I look at them now as they're getting older. I'm like, matter of fact, earlier today they came home, like cheer practice, and they all going to their rooms. They got some downtime, and this hadn't really happened like that. Normally they would kind of hang together. They probably sit downstairs and they all went to their rooms. Boom. And I was like, I went upstairs. And I was like, yo, it's kind of quiet. So I had to go peek in everybody's room. I'm like, we separate now. Okay, it's different. It's a little weird, even for me. Like,
yeah.
So it's funny how things have changed just like that on the littlest things and it just like, and everything changes except the kids, husband, wife, my relationship there. Family dynamics. The extended family dynamics, and every little thing in between. So as a man, it's always constantly like you said, the leadership aspect. In this situation, this is different here. I gotta know how to handle this situation over here. We got kids. Each kid is different. Daughters are different. How you handle that? My wife is different. How you handle that? That changes. Our relationship is not the same it was 5 years ago, and the same it was 10 years ago before the kids, all that stuff. So like, it's constant. And for me, it's like it helps me slow down. It helps me appreciate, even though I know it's changing. I appreciate today, the now, more because I know tomorrow morning is gonna be different.
I feel it.
I rest my head is one way. The time I wake up is another way, and that's how the days are to me. But I appreciate right now. So I'm not really looking too far in ahead. We try to plan for the future. Things we try. Gotta look for. We trying to do that, and that's where like the leadership. And you think about the tangible things, the money, the finances, all that stuff. You got. You're trying to project and plan, but I still gotta live in this moment.
I'm still learning how to do that, Kenny. I mean, listen, man, and I'm also learning that is very, very. What you're doing is you're managing your stress, right? And I'm still learning how to do that. I haven't figured that out yet, right? The more things come at me, the way. Sometimes I consider things to be heavier than others.
Yeah.
Right. But I have not yet. I mean, of course, I'm in the process of learning. I'm taking my moments, right? My fire pit that I just bought, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So I'm learning how to take my moments. But I'm still trying to, because I'm learning how to control my thoughts. I'm learning how to tell myself what to think.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I'm learning how to redirect my thoughts, taking my thoughts away from the things that they want to focus on and manually placing them on this, which is 9 times out of 10 these moments, right? Because these moments are our route to the futures. So if we ruin the current moments, we're ruining the future. And I'm acknowledging that, I'm understanding that, because there were some moments in the past that I ruined, and I'm reaping those. I'm reaping that harvest now, which is not fun sometimes, right?
Yeah,
so especially when you look back and you look at the time you lost. Time is expensive.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my boys now, like, man, consumed with things that I couldn't control back then, and then still also see that even now. I don't have control over those things, but the things I was worried about didn't kill me, and the things that replaced those worries It's probably not going to kill us now. But the thing is, you don't know how to tell yourself, we're not doing this today. We're not thinking about this today. Or at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock when your day ends, this is over.
Yeah.
We need to drop this off right now. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing my upbringing taught me. The one thing I probably say this like I don't know how many times a day, it's not that serious. That I learned to live by that now. So when it comes to like the heavy stuff, sometimes like the workload, start getting stressed, the big stuff. Sometimes I have to sit back and tell myself, you know what, it's not that serious. Because like my upbringing taught me, you're gonna get through it. It's gonna be okay. Sometimes I live some of those situations where you come through some of that stuff, you're like, oh, okay, the rest of the world ain't so bad, you know? And so it gave me some freedom. I started using it with work, my work stuff, my career. And I'm a workaholic, you know, I admit it. I'm working on that. But I'll literally, so the last task is done. There are nights 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm so focused and I'm so pressed to get it done. I'm killing myself, literally, you know? And so I had to learn, dog, it ain't that serious. Sometimes if it don't get done in time frame, once I got that part out, I learned how to prioritize. Okay, because it's not that serious. Okay, let me get to the big stuff right here first. And I learned how to piece it together. And by the time you get to the little stuff, if they ain't happening today, that stuff wasn't that important. I can get on that tomorrow or when I get to it, you know, and the world goes on. And I had to learn that. So then I applied that part. I started trying to apply it to the rest of my life, especially with the fam, things like that. Cause you know, like, especially like, I know young man, like we was finances, money, the bills and all that stuff. I learned quick, like, you know, money comes and goes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? Like I done been through some rough situations. I remember early on in our marriage and cars getting repoed and stuff like that. I went, you know, and it was like, you know what? We still alive though. Okay, yeah, they got that. I'm gonna get right in a couple weeks. I'm gonna get that back, you know. We still here. So you start to learn really quick, like, yeah, it sucks sometimes, but what's more important sometimes? And once I got to that point, especially when it came to my girls, my family, like I said, I learned from situations that I wanted to be there in that moment. I wanted to be there for them. I learned how to, pull back. Like all this other stuff, traveling and running the world and thinking I'm saving the world. We're going to try to do that, but there's other ways to do it. Come back, you know, live in the moment. And so for me, that's like the process, you know, and got through it. So, and I've even tried to translate that too. It's on my wife, family, because, you know, sometimes their stresses too, you know, we feel their stresses, we feel their pains and their struggles and things like that. Right. So it's the one thing I felt like I can convey to the rest of the family. It's going to be okay. We're going to get through it. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's easier said than done, especially tell that to your wife. And the first couple times I said that, let's get that look. Yeah. But then I realized
point of that.
through actions. I know last week they on vacation, dryer clumped out. Like she right before she about to leave, my wife was doing dry. She doing they about to go vacation, like, you know. Oh, we're gonna do it. We'll take care of it. Got plan B. It's cool. We got this. But because I could do that, because to me it wasn't that serious, I didn't stress out. I didn't start spazzing and start worrying. I was cool. So I think that I projected that on her. And she was like, okay, we got it. It's okay. Cool. We got plan B. Where you go, we got another option. Take care of that. Cool, that's done. When y'all go, I got this part. We got a plan, you know?
Yeah.
So because I wasn't projecting and showing stress and all that, oh, how much it's going to cost? What we going to do? No, it's okay. We're going to get it. It's okay. You know, like, it helps. That's what helped me. Like, I know that was a long way to say that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, listen. Sometimes we need that long-winded explanation because that's the how. For God's sake. That is the how. Like I needed to be long-winded because what I'm going through is complicated. So I need to understand vividly what I need to be doing, how I need to be thinking, how I work myself away from dot, the dot, the dot. Like that is what we need as men, right?
Yeah.
And because we're being subconsciously programmed, you know, not only with us unlearning the things that were programmed in us, but even now we're learning to be distracted.
Yeah.
You know, it's being taught to us to look at multiple things at one time, no matter what you see. You on a website, there's a million one things on that website.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You watching CNN, it's like a million one headlines going on. Even while the breaking news is happening. You got things coming up the side of the screen and there's some stuff going on at the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Football, same thing. Scores over here and the replays over here in the corner. And they figured out a way to have a coach on the screen now. It's like that, man.
And then all the games that happen later.
Us to be distracted.
Yeah. You're right. Like
it's and because of that, we don't want to sit here and listen to how I gotta get through this and why I gotta get through that, right? That explanation had meaning in it. And I'm gonna tell you, somebody is listening or will listen because they need that how. They need that step by step. How do I get out of this? Right? Because whys matter, hows matter. Like those little words to me, I do not overlook, man, because I am, as I progress through life, I'm learning some of the same things you're learning, Kenny. You know what I mean? And you're a little older than me. And you know, so I can hear the wisdom in your revelations as you progress through life. I'm coming along with those things too.
Yeah.
It's just that I guess in my own way. I heard you say, man, I'm locked in. Sometimes my fight is to be locked in. You see what I mean? That comes easy for you, but for me, it's like, I fight my own distracted self so often that I'm constantly beating myself up sometimes mentally, which is exhausting and taxing.
Yeah.
And then, so you see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's my fight. And to stay focused, to stay locked in, because I'm constantly missing something because of how much I got going on. You know what I mean? And to someone else outside, you know, them looking in, they're like, man, you're doing awesome. But to me, because I was always taught the true definition of a man was to never cry and gotta provide and we have to provide, you know, protect by all means, and all of the stuff he said in that first verse. And I'm thinking to myself, how do I keep up with it all? That's what's on my mind. I'm not seeing the fact that I'm and from somebody else's perspective, bro, you good.
Yeah.
What you say, Kenny? It ain't that serious.
It ain't that serious.
But to me, in there, and while I'm in it, it's like, I gotta protect, I gotta provide, I gotta, by all means, like, nah, like I don't see it that way. But to have someone else's how point things out to me and have me sit still and analyze his how, like, dang, he's struggling too, but he's struggling this way. All right, it ain't just me in this fight. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Another brother getting it. Empathy, understand, right? Misery in my company. I mean, company in my misery, right? Those are all golden things, but I don't get that if you don't explain that how.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah.
Or you don't get out of the misery without the how.
Right.
Yeah, because it's
and to know it's not that serious, sometimes you do need to be told it ain't that serious. So, but then when you say it ain't that serious, you tell me how do you know?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like you say, you can't tell everybody that they're serious. They look at you. Yeah, it's a fight sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody, like I said to one person on Facebook one time, everybody's struggling. So, and I don't even think she read it. I think she just typed because she was so quick on the mark when she texted all of this stuff back.
You said that was Facebook?
Like, yeah, it was Facebook. Yeah. Everybody's struggling. And she hit me back. Couldn't have been 2 seconds later. Like, no, I ain't struggling with no kind of money. See, that's for black people. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not what I meant.
Not what you meant.
That's not what I meant. When I said everybody was struggling, it doesn't have to be monetarily, although that could be a way. But pain is relative.
Yeah.
Well, you know, just because I'm hurting in a specific way doesn't mean you're hurting in that specific way, but it don't mean that I'm not still processing pain. Yeah. And physical pain is still processed the same way that emotional pain is too. So just because I'm not struggling financially does not mean I'm not feeling some level of pain and misery.
Right.
But because I'm telling you now, our understanding from a programming standpoint, has us locked and fixated on a target that is so far off the mark. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's our target, which is the scariest thing, because some of us are running 1,000,000 miles an hour to get to that target when they don't know they're going 1,000,000 miles an hour the wrong way. And it's going to be a whole bunch of stuff shit they got to unlearn in order to come back down that path and then go correct it. You know what I mean? Which is why we do need to make it, we got to make it okay for individual, for men to be able to talk like this, right? But to have enough patience to do it, to have enough focus to do it, to have enough understanding as to why you have to do it and why you need it. Understanding core values like vulnerability, right? Understanding other core values like emotional well-being. How are you doing? We don't really answer that question truthfully when it's asked.
We don't, and it's funny. It's one of the most.
It's just like, oh yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. Straight. Like
there's so many. There was one comedy special that like this dude, he was talking about how like I think it was black people or black dudes, like we all have such cool ways of just saying like, oh yeah, I'm good, and then it's like but like really you're struggling inside.
Yes, because we are.
Yes,
and I think like what we say, the first thing is admitting it, right? But I think that's understanding one is human beings. Like I said, we are designed to deal with these things. Like we're to experience them, right? That's the thing. We're designed to experience them, right? But we have to address them.
Right.
So sometimes it's okay to say, you know what, I'm not good. I'm not okay. I know some people say they have a rough day. I'm having a rough day. I'm down. There's a season. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Like let's normalize that, because we can help deal with it with each other. Like it's okay. Sometimes, hey, I ain't all right, man. And the multitude of things. Sometimes it's okay to say, and it's not whining. It's not complaining. That's another thing that gets to me too. When people asking, you start to express these things, they think you're whining. But no, being truthful.
Or they invalidate your feelings. They'll say, "Oh, what you got, man? What you got to complain about?"
Or the one thing that really annoys me, and I hate to get on this tangent, but when you start to open up to someone, and they immediately come back at you with things that they're going through, so they didn't acknowledge anything that happened, which is okay. Sometimes you need somebody to open the door, but it's like, I might have been asking for help, but the door wasn't open for that other end to receive.
Right.
So sometimes not only did I ask for help, now I just got your stuff too. Like, so if like I threw a punch and missed, and I just got beat over the head with a couple more of yours. Like, so it's like we don't even know how to send receive sometimes in these situations, and it's and then what happens, because I know that happened to me. I was in that situation, that environment, and like, what I do, I shut down.
Right.
I just stop talking. Like, okay, I can't. I'm not gonna share. I'm not gonna tell nobody, because it's like every time I open my mouth, it was a problem.
Right.
So the first thing that was how my brain went to it was, I'm shutting down. I'll deal with myself. I'm not gonna share.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to like how we need to. There's a lot of stuff that we need to unlearn.
Yeah.
That programming.
Yeah, like, I had to unlearn that one.
Like I was definitely that kid that like cried all the time. And like I look at myself now and like I haven't cried in years. And I look at that and I say, wait, hold on, why is that? Is it because I've become so stoic? Is it because I've been beat down so many times that like I see stuff now and I'm just like, oh, that's not that. I mean, it's not as bad as like this time in my life. And like, I think about it in that sense a lot. And I'm just like, that's probably not what I should be or how I should feel.
Well, I know my wall had to be broken that way. You can't hold that stuff in, right? That's number one. Because, and when you find yourself beginning to hold it in, or, figuring out that you're actually starting to be okay with it being in, the last thing you want to do is to to figure out a way to live hurt.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. And that was a wall for me that needed to be broken.
Right.
But life does that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Life hardens you that way.
Yeah.
Right.
So and that's, but there was a set of events that took place for that need to be broken.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For me to look that way, for me to stop going 100 miles an hour at a target that really didn't even really exist. Right? But that was my chemical imbalance, or whatever society wants to tag you with. But my mind was operating backwards. It was going backwards, and it's just not wired to go that way. It's not wired to chase a target that ain't there.
Right.
You know how much power you gotta have to figure out ways to chase a target that's not even really there. Like you have to put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, I was about to say it takes effort to do that.
Right. So listen. I will say this though. Once you figure out how, and this fly is get on my nerves. But
hey, get the swatter.
But once you figure that out, once you figure out that, oh, okay, when I'm angry, I can go ahead and be angry. And if that anger is so vicious and so intense, then I can absolutely shed tears over it. Not tears of any kind of whatever you would want to call a person who this culture will call soft, right? Yeah. I think that's you getting rid of that energy that you absolutely got to get rid of. Because if you don't, you're gonna burst. You're either gonna burst on the wrong individual, or you're gonna burst your own heart.
Yeah.
You feel me? Or have a stroke.
Yeah,
like you got that energy. Yes, it has to go. It has to go. And sometimes there are moments where you get so angry that tears just start to roll because you can't do what you absolutely want to do. Right? Which is why I started hitting the gym, man. That's why I had to figure out that, okay, crying wasn't soft. Crying helps me get rid of this energy.
Yes.
And if that don't work, sometimes the gym will allow me to do some of the things I wanted to do to some folk on them weights.
I feel it.
So, but that all comes with loving yourself, man. How do you love yourself? How do you love yourself? Do you love yourself enough to understand that when you do cry, it is not soft. It's actually helping you get rid of negative energies that will allow you to think and process, right? Can you be strategic enough in the moments to choose to look at that emotion that way, right? And same thing for sadness. Like if you're sad, to avoid apathy and depression, you have to get rid of that negative energy, right? So when we instead of saying crying, does get rid of that negative energy sound better? Or can that just be what you understand when you hear the word cry, as opposed to going right to the word soft?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Understanding what it does for you is number one, but understanding who you are as well is also number two. If you know you're an angry individual, and the only reason why you are that automatic when something negative happens, to where you just snap automatically, that is because of the energy. How many years of negative energy do you have pent up in you that has you snapping? No, you're not bipolar, King.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah.
You're not bipolar. You're angry. It ain't your fault that you were hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're mad at the fact that it is your responsibility to heal. But let's talk about what kinds of things healing will bring you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Having an understanding, a perspective of it, a proper perspective of crying, a proper perspective of what it looks like to relieve negative emotions so that you can think.
Yeah.
Right? Strength and holding your tongue, holding your movements, holding your thoughts. Don't think yet. Don't think yet. Yeah. Not yet. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Having the control to pause, to walk away, people look at walk away as being assault.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
If I don't walk away, my thoughts won't be calculated.
Not only that,
Like,
I'm
gonna hurt you.
Right. Like someone might get hurt, and
that's the thing.
Now I have a case on myself.
What's the common theme of this show? We always say, what's the goal at the end of the night?
To get home.
Get home to our families, to get home to our loved ones. So we go into this stuff. Yeah, man. Oh man, I tell you, I like to cry. I don't care. I admit it. I boo-hoo. Yeah. Especially don't let me watch something. It don't even have to be emotional at this point. Now I ain't gonna front. Let me not front. It's not even emotional. Sometimes stuff just moves. Like I see something. I'll see something out and about, and I just be like, "Yo, that's dope." And sometimes it just is. It's just the emotion. Or sometimes you just get to a point, like you said, I just feel it coming. Like my body needs that release. I'll know, like a couple of days, I'm just like, you just get that feeling like something. It's like a volcano about to erupt.
And if you hold on to it, boy, will you mess yourself up in
that. Yeah, you be jacked up. So, yeah, sometimes I'll purposely watch something that I know is going to move me. I'll watch something. Like there's a couple things I know I can go to, and every time, but I feel so much better afterwards, just because.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the end of the workout. Like you feel your body is done. You got a good workout in, and sometimes after a good cry, after a good release, a good conversation, sometimes you just feel like, I needed to get that out. I needed that, and your body feels it.
Like this conversation right now, I love this right now.
Yeah, I'm about to sleep good tonight, y'all. Like, because it is.
And when you cry a lot, like in a small amount of time, like something. Like I know for me, because so much pressure is on me, right? I am constantly frustrated or feel like I'm holding something that I can't, right? And that's my own understanding, because it really ain't my burden to bear, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But it's this perspective of how I process what I'm feeling, right? And my feelings, this is the power in being able to control your emotions so that you can think clearly, right? Because when you got clarity, you flow. But what I will say is, when you absolutely need to be clear on what it is you're feeling, right? Because your feelings respond to what you see.
Yeah.
Whatever you're processing. If I could have the control over my feelings to hold them at bay long enough for me to process correctly before it comes, because it is gonna come. You are gonna get angry.
Yeah.
You will absolutely get angry. But how you're going to do, right? And sometimes those tears come because you're going to choose how, when you know better, you do better. So you're going to choose to look at this with wisdom. And sometimes, for me personally, if I'm angry about a certain something, but I'm looking at it from a wisdom, from a wiser perspective than I used to when I was young. I can't act like I don't know what I see.
Yeah.
But it helps me fight with anger.
Yeah.
You feel me? So when somebody does something to me, and now I have to say to myself, well, Ryan, hurt people. So King, are you going to be a king, or are you going to choose to look at it from a different perspective, knowing good and well you understand this?
Yeah.
That makes me have to deal with it.
Yes.
And now I'm looking at it like, all right, come on. All right, I'm angry. I am angry. I am angry because I know he hurt, and I know hurt people, and I can't quite get mad at somebody for being hurt. But I am angry that happened to me. Being honest with yourself, and I can't do anything about it. So, but you've shaken almost.
Yeah.
You have to cry because you see what you see. You see what you see, but you can't do nothing about it.
Yep.
Right? I am way too far away from the gym.
Yeah,
right?
You can't.
So I can't do nothing about what just happened to me. And I can't even get mad at you now. So now I have to begin the process of forgiving you. And I'm mad because you're not even really sorry. You felt me? But I see what happened and I understand it correctly. So the only way for me to get rid of this is I'm angry and I can't do nothing about it right now. And to get through it, to let it go through you, is the tears. Yeah. Sometimes that is absolutely the tears. Sometimes you cry so much, right? Going back to what I was saying, you cry so much to as though, you could actually go into That's some of the best sleep that I get.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's the amount of energy that came out of you. That is literally the amount of energy that came out of you. So it is absolutely critical that we understand that emotion accurately.
Yes.
Misunderstanding that emotion can land us, and that's the difference between prison
Yep.
and success.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, man, I do. I want that emotion. Not that that's a superpower. I want that superpower. I want the full control over my thoughts. It doesn't mean that my feelings won't act on what they see, but I'll have enough wisdom and understanding to look past what my current set of circumstances is. Understand that what I'm feeling will come to an end. Understanding that I am going to feel anger, but how I process it is going to be healthy for me long term.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just like when you put it that way to another man, he cannot. There's no way on God's green earth. If he looked up and see that the sky's blue and the sun is yellow, then he will understand that looking at it from that perspective does not mean you cannot say that, oh, yo, you soft if you cry. There is no way.
There's no way.
Not if you're thinking about loving yourself correctly.
Yeah. And that's the thing, though. This is what needs to be taught. And that's why these conversations are so important, because this is what's not being shared. You know, so the more we have this conversation, the more we gotta get this out. I think it was I don't know why we did that back in the day, but it was easy to do when people jumped on it, and this whole tough guy thing and you soft thing, you know.
And our fathers, man. My gosh.
Yeah.
For some of us, like for even the ones that had our fathers, I mean, like they still came up in trauma. So they were either the first king who decided to choose differently, but he still didn't know how to be.
Exactly.
So it's still broken, even though you have a leg up on some who don't have fathers at all. But we all of us still end up not knowing how to be at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It gets, man. But these explanations of all of this is they take time to have.
Right.
They do.
They take time to talk about. They take time to understand, right? Because we feeling in the moments right now. There are some of us who have not yet forgiven, you know, our parents for being broken, or even acknowledging that they're broken to begin with, and that's the reason why we're broken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Angry at the world, man. Can't let that energy out of me, man. That's misery.
It is.
That is not strength.
And we see a lot of brothers out here with it, man. You know, and it may not be the big ways, but sometimes it's those little subtle ways that it's eating at people. And you can see it start to manifest. You can see it start to ooze out. You know, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Hard
especially
to watch.
When you can see it happening, especially to yourself.
That too.
Man, that's a morning. That's a morning right there.
Man.
Watching a king lash out in a moment when I understand what's wrong with him and I can't do anything about it. I mourn for that situation. Like that.
Right. It's out of your control.
Yeah. Right. And you know, like, man, and you start praying, like, man, I pray this brother don't go, like, make a decision that from this point, because what's happening, go down the path, and now, you know, it negatively affects his life. You know, that's the hard part.
But sometimes that's all we can do.
Yeah, we can do. We're trying to do the best we can.
We gotta pray for our brothers.
Yeah, that's why as a mentor, I used to watch the young men. That was, oh man, like, you know, mentoring the young brothers and going through that with them. And shoot, if they were 16, 17, I was 22, 23 myself, you know?
Yeah, so man.
Just trying to figure it out.
Right. And I know this is a bit off target for what we're saying, but okay, now stay with me, because I'm learning that it's coming to me in moments. Of course, when we see what we see and we're opposite of culture, we will be rejected. Rejection ends up being direction, so we still end up being where we were always, supposed to be, planted seeds, purpose, callings for our lives. So we always end up where we were supposed to be because we cannot be accepted by a society that we can clearly look straight through and see this ain't right.
Yeah.
Right. I might not understand what I'm looking at when I'm young, but when we grow, right, you start to see the wisdom and the separation and why it makes sense.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean? So if I could start to get to some of the individuals who feel rejected early on, and before he hush up, before he muzzle up, right, shut down and like conform to cause. Oh, I got to build these walls. Society accepts a man who gets angry quicker, and then society, they tell me that I'm supposed to be this way, so I'm gonna act this way, right? So it's like before we start throwing these walls up, you know, inevitably, because we don't know how to heal ourselves or we don't understand what we're dealing with, we got to get to the individuals who are at a younger age to be able to start talking to them about the emotions that they're feeling right now.
Yes.
Right? They're feeling that. Like the first 4 episodes of my podcast, I had a topic for anger. I had a topic for failure, and I had a topic for change, right? And those 3, all kids that all kids, honestly, but because my mission is men.
Yeah.
And the boys, like we're little boys trying to heal some of the things that happened to us when we were younger. Well, if I get to you while you're young, you don't have to heal while you're 30.
Yes.
That's acceleration.
Right.
Yes.
That's acceleration. That's generational healing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if I get the chance to talk to you about why isolation is good and why you're not received in this culture and why you're not received in this manner, let me talk to you about what you see and why what you see is not necessarily what they see.
Yeah.
What if I can apply understanding to that? What if I could get you to be okay with that isolation early on so that you can learn how to lead quicker?
Yes.
Than I learned how. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the key. That's the key. Getting to them now, getting to these young kings now. And of course, it's going to be difficult because as boys, we are parenting us out of them when we start to realize how much in error we were.
Right.
But you can see it in their decisions. I'm looking at some of them now. Like, dang, I didn't choose to do that when I was 16. Right. Dang, I didn't choose to do that. Right?
Yeah.
I wish I had my father too at 9, Cam.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is that I want to be the type of person I needed when I was like 16, 17, 18, like just to talk to.
Yeah.
Like I want to be that person for someone else.
And sometimes that's all it is, man. Like those are some of the great moments I have when I look back at some of those things. I have some youngins now who, they're late 20s at this point, was 30, and I started working with them when they were teenagers. And it's a lot of them, and I've seen some good ones, I've seen the bad, but like the ones who really took hold, man, it's so good to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember you were telling me about one dude that like came back to you and said, "Yo, like thank you for everything that you taught me, because if it wasn't for you, or if it wasn't for that talk, I wouldn't be alive right now."
And that's the joy. Sometimes you just see it, Like one of my homies, we were just DMing like what was that 2 weeks ago. And it was good to see the reconnect. I mean, he's married, father, all of doing the things. And he was like, "Yo, man." And I remember his upbringing. It was rough, It was just like, just thank you. He just thanked me, for just being there, just listening, and just, And he was like, he told me, I gotta find a message. He said, if you never thought anything you did for somebody was good, like, it worked for me, pretty much, And that was one of those moments. Did I cry? Yeah, I did. Because I was just happy for him, like, to see, like, you know what? Sometimes, some of the things we do, it works. We're trying to do the best we can. We're trying. Like I said, we still working on us, but just to know that sometimes even a little bit. I live by this philosophy. Someone told me this when I first started mentor programs. They said, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but at some point in time, if they apply something you learned, you taught them, you did your job,
Right.
And so it was like, going back to the planting seeds thing. That's what it is. That you may not see it nurture and grow right at that moment. Sometimes we want to so bad, we want to see that change. Mm-hmm. But sometimes a couple years later, and they come back and say, you know what? Like, yeah, I had a couple kids. Like, yeah. And it's like, you know, it fuels me to start getting more of us together. Mm-hmm. Get back out there and get to these young people.
Right. That's important.
It has to happen. It has to happen. Mm-hmm. More men should be able to have this because, you know, it's critical that we understand it. Understand our seasons, you know, understand what we're doing, like our choice to say yes to our call, right? Yeah. And you can have multiple calls in your life, right? Yeah. You could be called to fatherhood. You could be called to be a husband, to bring change in some of the family cycles that have been going on in your life, in the generational pain that has manifested itself in your family, right? You can be called to multiple things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we to take them serious, but to understand them, to say yes to them. Mm-hmm. Man, we need you need. I need a bunch of yes men. How do I say yes to this? How should I say no to this? How should I say no? Yeah. How do I receive? Right. How do I stop being the answer?
Yeah.
Right. We're planting seeds. How do I stop being the answer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do I process this? How do I process that, man? Mm-hmm. Forward thinking, man. That they say, you know, I heard David McNair once said, you know, he said, you know, I don't believe that it takes a village to raise a child. He said, I believe it takes a village to raise a family. So, the same way my kids sometimes got to go, you know, go to camp or back to school rally or after school program. I need those things.
Yes.
We need those things.
Yes.
As men, we do.
Right.
We do.
Yeah.
It's all about, I've always said, it's always about reaching that one person. If you could talk to like 99 people, as long as one person gets what you said, you're golden.
Yeah. Because you're trying. And that's the main thing. Like I said, and I think especially because the more men understand the stuff we're talking about now, like, you know.
Yeah, especially with all the mental health.
And also, we're pushing back on the whole culture and society, too. Mm-hmm. Like Ryan, you were saying, like, remember, we're fighting. There's a battle. It's a battle. So it's not just
on multiple levels.
Yeah, it's not just one side of a voice these young people are hearing. Men, people, you know, like a lot of different fronts, a lot of different things that we're bombarded with, we're attacked with. And so it's hard to sometimes navigate and sort through all of that and figure out, you know, like, so that's why it's like, you just got to keep at it. Got to keep at it, you know. It reminds me of like old military strategy, because I like military strategy. Like back in the day, Roman stuff where they would just line one side up, and they just kept sending waves. And you just running into the wall, and you just sending a wave and wave after wave. But eventually the winning side would get through. And sometimes one thing it taught me is that you can't stop. Sometimes you gotta, hey, okay, this wave ain't work. This ain't work for me. I got another thing that's gonna work. That ain't work. I got another thing, and I'm just gonna keep sending waves. I'm gonna keep sending waves at them.
And
but I'm not gonna stop.
Right, and eventually you're gonna get past it.
Yeah, I'll defeat.
Well, I think some of the things we're doing right now, Kenny, this podcast is dope, man. This, you know, the one I've started.
It's dope.
The reasons for this,
it's great.
The reasons for this are because of what you and I see.
Yes.
You know, I think that narrative must change in order for it to, come on, man. Healthy fathers mean healthy families. And this is not a nod to Black women, because I do believe that Black healthy mothers make healthy families. I believe that to be true for both sides.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And how I feel a better me is a better me that's going to process in certain moments. A better me means I know how to be there now for you. Right, a better me, who knows how to lead and understand, is going to be every way that she's weak, you know. So that relationship will strengthen. But from a friendship standpoint, a better me is going to understand when to lead, when not to, when to listen, like you were talking about, Kenny, and then when to be an answer. right? But like understanding what your attributes are is gonna make you a better friend, you know? But to do it from a together standpoint, we're able to love more if we can get more men to like you said, you keep sending those waves. Getting more men to understand this correctly is going to shatter this narrative, this backwards narrative. You know what I mean? That you know, we're not allowed to be human, for God's sakes, man. We're not. This is not about men and women. This is just about us being able to be human.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hurting right now. I am upset. If you upset, say it.
Yeah.
I am upset. I am mad. Sometimes you gotta be hot. Sometimes you in the car, truck. I'm in my truck. I'm pissed right now. I can't do nothing about this.
Yeah.
You know, I am hot. But I am getting it out. I'm not just in my head telling myself mud stories. When you're in mud, everything is brown. So you and then you end up having a conversation in your head about something somebody might have said if you was still
Yo, right.
Yo,
and then you
all
get
the
to
time.
answering.
Yeah.
You answer
all
too.
The time.
Yo, to avoid that mayhem, let me just get. I am mad.
Yeah, it's funny. I told my wife earlier. Yeah, I told her earlier. I said, you know what? I said I feel some kind of way, and I said that because I said I don't know exactly what it is right now, but I shared that. I ain't know exactly what I felt. I just knew it was. So I told her, I said, I feel some kind of way. She's like, what's wrong? I said, I don't know yet. I don't know. But I said, I just wanted to share that with you. You know? I said, I'll probably get there, but I just shared that part. That's all I shared. I didn't know the root. I didn't know exactly what happened. I just, hey, I feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
I just gotta let you know that. And even to say that was like,
that's important.
Okay, like just just in case, you know, if you see me with a funky face or something, look frowned up, and I don't really know.
Don't ask me what's wrong.
Yeah, so let me tell you first.
Yeah,
because sometimes everybody wants an answer too. Sometimes I have one. I really didn't know, but I know I just didn't. It didn't feel right. It didn't like it. Just that was the best way I could describe it. Some kind of way. She said, "Okay, like you know, like about this, I just gotta tell you, you know, just almost like heads up."
Yeah.
But it's to share that, you know, get it off my chest.
Yeah.
And now, a couple hours later, I feel better. I ain't really figured it out. I don't really know what happened. But, you know, it comes up again, it'll be there. But I don't know. So I think sometimes acknowledging to say, like, I don't really know sometimes. Sometimes I don't really be knowing.
Yeah.
It could have been something that triggered. I didn't recognize it at that point. Yeah.
You know how much freedom is in? I don't know.
Yeah.
Bro.
I don't know. How much burden falls off your shoulder when you just simply say, I ain't got this one figured out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And then have it be okay.
Yeah.
So the people around you can now step in and help.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
It's okay not to know things.
Man,
like we have to be okay with saying, "Yo, I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't help you. I don't know how to process this." Something like that.
Sometimes that's how conversations go.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Get my face right now. Right. but listen, being able to say that, right? Instead of acting like everything is okay.
Right. Like, or acting like
I'm feeling some kind of way. I don't know what it is. So I'm already telling you, so you ain't get to ask me 100 times, what's wrong? Right? Now I am identifying I'm not okay. Yeah. And that and maybe this is, if you know my love language, this is maybe you give me some space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm communicating it.
Yeah. Right. It's funny.
I'm telling you how I feel.
Yeah. This is the inner nerd in me. I watch a lot of animal stuff. I watch animals in nature. And animals have these a lot of animals have these little communication mechanisms. A rattlesnake. He rattled. What is he telling you? Hey, fam. Hey, it ain't all right over here. You gotta back up. Sometimes animals hiss. Sometimes they flare up. They do certain things.
Right.
But that's the communication to let you know, hey, back up at this point. Look,
Right.
I don't know. I ain't right now. You look making me kind of,
Right.
But as humans, we, like our communication is here. We don't, sometimes we got postures and stuff, but like we don't have no rattles, but we can communicate those same things.
Right.
Yeah,
That's true.
Like, hey, I'm not okay. I don't know. Something ain't right, but I say that a lot. I find that's one of the things I think is part of my manhood too. Like I let my wife know, like, hey, I need a minute. I'm gonna be downstairs. Like, that's my place to go. I'm gonna be downstairs. Like,
right.
I don't know. And I say that a lot.
Yeah. And if anything,
yes,
they're gonna
and
see
she
it
don't
in
come
our face.
down there after you either.
No,
right?
No,
she don't. You're telling, like, listen, I might not know how to do it perfect, but the best you gonna get out of me is this level of communication.
Yeah.
And you know me. You've known me for 15 years. So I don't know how to say nothing else.
Yeah.
Right.
So leave me alone.
Yeah. If nothing else, I'm consistent in that. Yeah. Like, yeah.
I'm upset right now. Right? You're telling him multiple things in one statement.
Yeah.
They have gifts too. So they know where to be strong, where we weak.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she's absolutely understanding that, okay, you feeling a certain kind of way. That's evident. Okay. She's now trying to tie, okay, so why would he be feeling this way? Was it this? Was this? Was this? Was it this? She's doing that now. Right? If she's any kind of wife and she's trying to make things better, or she's having enough wisdom to give you your space.
Exactly.
Depending on how you like to be loved. Right? Yeah. Like she's understanding who you are and what you need in the moments just because you opened your mouth. And that's way better than you sitting next to her and her saying, are you sure what's wrong with you? Because your energy is off. And then you snap.
And you start, yep.
Because you didn't take your moments. You didn't take your break.
Yo, your chakras feel out of whack right now.
Oh, that's
right.
Oh my goodness. But yeah. And like I said, I don't even want to go down this. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole because I know we've been doing it, but that's also why building a strong relationship and foundation is important, because those are the little details and intricacies you learn about each other. That to me is like one of like pillars of what we call union and marriage. Like those things. Yeah. I think about how many times those conversations prevented the big stuff from happening, prevented arguments and fights and all that stuff. Just being able to say that. My wife's a counselor too, so we always have these if-when conversations. You ever hear if-when? If this happens, or if then, like, so it's like how you're expressing yourself. If, or because of this happened. Like, so it's like a cause and effect kind of thing.
Right.
And those happen all the time. When you did this, I felt blank.
Right.
When you said this, I felt blank. Like, so it's like it's almost like this conversation we have, like, but it's like it sounds cheesy, but it's effective.
No,
right?
It sounds true.
But that's the thing, it's effective. Yeah, well, I think because I've so seen it so much, and like I've seen people do it, and I've seen people do it wrongly. I've seen people like make fun of it, but I tell you, it's so effective in these situations.
Right, like disregard it.
Yeah, it's like because it's just it's plug and play. It's a template, really. How to make it easy. You could throw in, like when you said this, and you can insert, or when you did this, you can insert what happened and what was said. I felt this, and you can share. And it sounds so, but like, man, it works. And the one thing I said, when we did this, I said, we have to be able to provide the space to understand that not only what we're saying, what we're sharing, but what happened. We can't dismiss it. You don't dismiss each other's feelings as well, too.
Right.
Because we all feel different. Like I said, we all feel differently. So sometimes, like, I might have said something and I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was that bad, but apparently I hurt your feelings. And I can't dismiss that. Like, I gotta take that. Like, okay, that was wrong. So it's like one of those little things we do. It's helped. I mean, especially in the early years, it helped a lot.
Right.
And to be able to provide that space. And one thing that I know used to happen was I would beat myself up. I would beat myself up a lot. And not because like I was frustrated with her, because one, I hate making mistakes. Always have. Like, And then 2, I hated that I made a mistake and I made her, it negatively affected my life. Damn, that sucks. Yeah. And I would get so frustrated at myself. But I would get frustrated with myself. And then again, now I'm projecting all that frustration and negativity in an improper manner. Mm-hmm. And everybody's affected because now I'm walking around and I'm slamming stuff. I'm walking, because I wasn't dealing with it properly.
Right.
So then she used to tell me, like, I didn't want to share with you because I didn't want you to get upset. Because I just saw how it made you feel. Mm-hmm. Okay, I get that. So now I got to go, how do I properly channel that anger, that frustration? Going back to what we were talking about earlier. See how it comes back? Like, it's all true stuff. Like, so I had to, I had to find what worked for me and how to deal with that in these situations, I would do a lot. Yeah. It's all this healthy conversation stuff.
Yeah.
And
as I'm honestly, y'all, I really needed this especially this week. Like, I really needed this conversation. I'm really glad that we're having it.
I needed it too, man.
Yeah. Because a lot of times most people don't understand where these conversations get so good and so long-winded because we in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason why it feels so real, looks so real, and we are screaming out as necessary because we feel the pressure of it now. We feel it as it's still incomplete.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's still incomplete. These conversations are incomplete because we are going to keep experiencing new seasons and new levels in our lives. You see what I mean? So of course, there has to be a safe place for men to be men, for men to be human, right? For men to be broken.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Especially everybody knows where we come from, man. We're all connected to. There is a level of an oppressed state that we have to be able to overcome in some sort of way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all of us deal with it the same way, but you do deal with it in some sort of way. Right. And if we can increase these talks amongst men, true kings, then it is definitely it's a leg up for us, one, to be able to change the narrative, but then also accelerate our futures, our children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because a healthy us is a healthy, again, like you said, Kenny, cycles, man. Like a healthy us is a healthy Black family.
Yes.
And it's extremely, and it's extremely important, especially for fathers, to tell their sons who they're supposed to be, right? And then our daughters who she should believe in.
Yes.
What kind of men she should believe in. So it's very, very important that I be healthy. And this creates that, because when you're able to talk to your anger from another man's perspective, because if you I don't know how to fight anger. Evidently, I'm losing the battle because I'm still mad. I haven't learned how to conquer it yet. Right? So I need to. What if some other man in this group, right, that we would be able to develop or just provide understandings for other men to go start other groups, right? Yeah. What kind of understand, how we're thinking about these sorts of things matter. How to solve these problems with thinking cognitively and understanding the words that you will share, right? The way you do feel, speaking those words to yourself because you understand the power that that words have, but just being in control of it. You get all of that through your peers. You get your healings from your peers. You're going to get all of that from those groups. I'm going to learn new ways to talk to my anger, because Timmy from San Diego on a Man Can Feel podcast. I don't know, I'm making stuff up, but like he's gonna know how to get at the thing he's fighting now. He's gonna fight differently.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And for God's sakes, that's normally what we want. We know life ain't gonna be perfect.
Yeah,
we just want to know how to fight, because most men, if I'm speaking honest, right, especially specific to me, most of my anger comes because I feel hopeless in a situation. Yes. And we're fixers. We're fixers. So if I feel hopeless, I don't, especially if I'm feeling incorrectly,
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know how to feel, I'm saying to myself, I feel hopeless. But instead of accurately dealing with what that feels like, I can't do nothing about this. I'm mad. I'm angry. I can't change my circumstance.
Yes.
Right.
Rather than looking beyond your circumstance so you can start seeing something else, so your feelings can start processing something else while you simultaneously focus on how to correct the problem. Same moments, just looking at them in a different way. I'm gonna get that from other dudes in this group or in that podcast, or if the narrative changes, I can get it from anywhere. I ain't even gotta be in the know to get into one of these groups. It's just normal. I'm getting it from every which way. That's a healthy society. That's a healthy culture. You know what I mean?
And hopefully we keep chomping at it. We keep getting there,
Right. The one mantra I always repeat from the great philosopher, Mr. Kendrick Lamar, we gonna be all right.
We'll be all right.
I like it.
Yeah. On that note, I know it's getting late, brothers. I know we gonna continue this conversation. We gotta keep this going.
Can this kind of conversation can go all night, man? With a sip of wine?
Yeah. It almost has.
Please.
I'm tapped.
Hey, I got my tea. We could keep talking, man.
We could. You know what? Next time we're gonna get near one of those fire. We're gonna get one of the fire pits.
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna break a mic out.
Kenny, that's a dope ass idea.
That's what we're gonna do.
No, that's a dope idea, man.
You good, bro?
Yeah,
that's a dope idea.
Yeah,
that's what we need to do. And we just had this conversation in a good atmosphere. You know,
with the fire going.
Ryan's been inspiring me, man, because I went out there the other day because like I said, I shared.
You turned it on to me.
No, but that's it.
I inspired him about the stuff he already had. He inspired me.
I didn't use it that much, right? Because I would always break it out like people's special case. You know, David. The last time I used it when we were together, right? That was a couple months back. You know, it's a couple months back. Like, so then I saw the picture of Ryan. I was like, yes, my man got one. Like, and in the picture, you just look so peaceful. And it's so calm, like
it's such a vibe, man.
And that's what I was like. Let me go back out here real quick and sit down, like.
Like, bro, I feel like we gotta meet up one time and like we just gotta light up the pit and be like, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and just get it. It ain't nothing to get a mic out there. We just talking. We just sharing. We kicking it. Like I said, we just
we got.
I'm coming through. Yeah, y'all just gotta let me know tonight or the day or whatever y'all going through. You know what I mean? But
absolutely.
I'm coming through.
Let's do that. I'm gonna make that happen, y'all. Get the brothers together.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me finish this up. Don't go nowhere, mother. In this, but like y'all know what it is. It's Community Coalition Show.
Yep.
We here. Y'all know where to find us. From all the platforms of YouTube. Check out the podcast video.
Oh wait, hold on. Before we do that,
hold on.
Ryan, what is your podcast called?
Yes.
Please shout it out.
Oh, well, thank you, man. It's the Ryan Dunston Podcast. Well, Words from a Humble King. We're on every outlet. You think of it, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, we're on everything. And finished the first season. The last 2 episodes will be uploaded this week. That'll be a full season. That's 10 episodes. Some good stuff. Hopefully y'all go look it out. Ryan Dunston, Ryan_Dunston on IG, and just Ryan Dunston on Facebook.
Yeah, amazing. And I will concur. It is some good stuff, y'all. Y'all get a chance. Y'all need to check that podcast out. And I'm not just saying it because it's my man, but I'm saying it because honestly, if you like this conversation, these are the real conversations that are being had.
Right.
You know, and so I encourage everyone to check that out, especially my brothers out there. If you're looking for something to listen to, if you're looking for something, you need some food.
Right.
It's there, man. It's there. So
thank you, man.
Yeah, so keep it going. Like, any way I can support, any way I can help, I'm here.
Absolutely,
man.
We here.
Yeah. Because we need to keep this stuff going. So
I appreciate that.
The conversation is never over.
It's never. I like that, and that's how we gonna end. The conversation is never over. And so until next week. Hold on, don't go anywhere. Yeah, I'm about to stop this, but peace, y'all.
Peace.